Welcome back to Motorious Podcast. You're here with Elizabeth Puckett and Steven Sims. We are going to talk about the news that's going on in the middle of January. I can't believe we've made it this far.
Yeah.
The most practical, it's more over than it is not. And another racetrack is closing, and I think we should just open this topic up for discussion, something that we've touched a little lightly on before. But so what is this racetrack that's closing this time?
It's the I-80 Speedway in Nebraska. It's a real popular track. It's been open for a while. 1994? I think is when it opened.
Mm-hmm.
The owner's been claiming that they're struggling financially before, and then it sounds like they got an offer that was just too good, and they're closing the track. So they're probably going to be putting something on the land. The land just got too expensive, and this happens all the time, and it's happening here in Phoenix as well with Wild Horse.
What's the deal with the Wild Horse?
So the Wild Horse is the tribe that has that land there because it's on a reservation,
right?
The word is that they have a developer who's convinced them that they can build this luxury mall and a soccer stadium and luxury condos and such on that land, and it's going to be uber successful, which I doubt the viability of that, and a lot of people do. They have an outlet mall that's just down the road from the motorsports complex, and it's pretty busy, but it's it's in Chandler, and you have another mall that's just down the freeway from there, and a bunch of other retail and so on. And why is that going to be specifically successful? But this is what keeps happening with a lot of tracks: is the land gets too valuable, the owners talked into either selling it or using it for something that's definitely going to be way more profitable, and these tracks get closed.
Yeah, this is okay. We've got a short list. This is just high level, so don't complain if we don't mention your track.
Yeah.
We've got Atlanta Dragway, Wild Horse, Memphis, Mansfield Motorsports Park, which is a little bit older. But these, okay, let me show you. This is the track I used to race on in my car. This is the Atlanta Dragway, and it's been sitting for like 2 years, and this is what has become of it. All these tracks are just going away.
Yep.
And we're told that they're for industrial complexes and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
But we've looked into this, and a lot of these tracks are just wasting land.
Just sitting.
They're sitting there. I wish we had that picture of the one in the Mansfield track pulled up. Where
it's awful.
Reverted back to nature.
The track is like sunk down and broken up. The actual track surface, it is awful to see.
And it's like, what's the point of this?
And that's the thing is there's talk about the real estate market imploding. So I wonder if a lot of these track sales, if the tracks aren't going to sit like how Mansfield has. Mm-hmm. First of all. Second of all, here's another viewpoint. Some of these they're selling the land to put expensive developments on because the city's grown around them, et cetera, et cetera. But that isn't always the case. I think part of the problem, and this starts to get complicated, and I'm not trying to like dump on anyone in motorsports, but I've talked to a lot of race teams about this issue, a lot of race shops, and a lot of them agree that part of the problem is the over commercialization of motorsports. Like, have you like looked at how much tickets for a NASCAR race cost nowadays?
I haven't, but
it's expensive. So a lot of, it used to be a lot of people would take their wife and the kids to NASCAR race. Well, now for a family, I mean, it is hundreds of dollars at least to go to a NASCAR race, just the tickets, and then you add on food and everything else on top of that, and it is super expensive. So most people can't really afford to do that. So because they have, NASCAR's like pumped up the commercialization. Well, it's happened a lot of tracks and race series where the ticket prices have climbed astronomically, and it's priced a lot of people out because not everybody is making 300,000 a year and can easily afford to go to these events.
Mm-hmm.
So it's part of the problem. Like the common man is priced out of going to these race events, and then revenue at the raceways go down. Now, I'm not saying all these raceways that have closed this is the case, but with some of them, I think this is part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It also has raised expectations. So you go to these other more like grassroots racing tracks, and it doesn't have luxury this and luxury that, and they're not serving champagne and shrimp and so on, and people, oh, this is a white trash horrible place, and then they stop going. Well, I mean, it's an effect because everybody now wants to be pampered, and they want this like coliseum of racing where everything with padded seats and so on. Back in the day, like in the 1920s, this was racing. Most of the tracks were dirt.
Mm-hmm.
You were lucky if you're sitting on a slab of cement to watch, and you'd have to bring an umbrella for the elements. But people had a passion. They want to see the cars race, and it wasn't about this commercialization. It wasn't about having shrimp and champagne while you're watching the race. This is an F1, for crying out loud, which started with a bunch of aristocrats racing their cars for the commoners to cheer for them. There's a continuation of all the knights in the Middle Ages and all that crap. American racing was about the common man, and we're starting to get away from that. We're becoming more like F1 racing, where only the rich can attend, only the rich can race. I think it's a huge misstep in motorsports.
Well, I've heard that the Atlanta Dragway was actually closed, and this is just, there's so many rumors. The official statement, but I've heard that it was like noise complaints.
Oh yeah, that's the other problem.
Sorry, like,
you can hear the
it's what
cars.
you want it to do, and this is kind of the lead-in, I guess, of a couple of things that have happened today, or not today, but that we're talking about today. Crashes. We have a lot of crashes that we cover on our site, and I know that people have always crashed cars, and they've always done dumb stuff, and they've always street raced and this and that, but tell me it's not getting worse. Tell me that people aren't acting up like way more. They absolutely are. I had 2 tracks that we used to race at that were within an hour and a half, and there's more in between. And now, I've got an 18-year-old son. He's going to be 19 soon. Or like trying to get him to the track. There's not even a drag strip for him to go to. Race his car. There's a couple of really high end, like really expensive tracks. Like we have, Road Atlanta, which you're talking like $700 to $1,200 a day to put your car on. Also, you have to kind of be rich to do that kind of road racing.
And that's a problem, isn't it? There's a private track here where you have to be a member of the club to use the track.
Yeah,
and
we've got
last
that
I heard, the buy-in was like 90,000 or something.
Yeah, we have
like that. We're way out of reach for most
Motorsplex or something like that. That's
what's
like
that?
There's like an Atlanta Motorplex or something.
And that's one trend, and this is what I'm talking about, where it's shutting out the common man from racing, from motorsports. And so people are acting out. One other point I wanted to bring up, and then we can talk about this crash with the Mustang, is you have these enthusiast companies. I'm not going to name any names, but there are some car enthusiast companies that claim to love driving and want to preserve the hobby and so on. And that's great talk. I totally agree. But why don't they put their money where their mouth is and buy some of these tracks, or create a track somewhere and keep it accessible so that the common enthusiasts can go and race their car and get this out of their system, so people aren't racing on the roads, and we can preserve the hobby. Keep the admission prices low so your common enthusiasts who don't want to race but want to watch racing can go and easily enjoy some grassroots motorsports.
That would be excellent, because honestly, there's car shows, there's cruise-ins, but there's not really any entity that is like there's a few places here and there that have.
There are a few, but
So
100 years ago, when cars weren't even as common, there were more tracks, more outlets for this.
yeah, we used to have something race wise to go to every single weekend. And it's
Hmm.
not a test and tune, grudge racing. Our car club would rent out the track for a weekend. No, there's not
Yeah,
anywhere to like, nah. Some bigger entity that's out there needs to come along, buy some of these tracks up and get it going. Like
yep.
get it, you really want to get enthusiasts, fire it up. Let's maybe like not have another cars and coffee. Like maybe let's go to the track
I know that's what a lot of these
or
enthusiast
cars and
companies.
caffeine or
That's
caffeine and
that's all they want to.
coffee or
That's all they
whatever.
want to support is the car shows and the cruise-ins and the cruises, the drives. But they're not doing tracks. And I understand that that's a much bigger investment
Yeah.
for them. But a lot of them, come on, they have the money. They could do this. And imagine the public goodwill that would be generated by that. I
Mhm.
think enthusiasts would then support those companies way more than they do
Oh,
right now.
absolutely.
And there would be a financial benefit, not directly from the track, but overall, because then they would utilize that company's other services because they appreciate what they're doing.
Hmm.
And especially young enthusiasts,
Car
as they get
show,
older, they
you
have more
can all
money.
different things. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah. Sorry, this is an issue that
attract the younger crowds, because the younger crowds don't want to like show up somewhere at 6 a.m. wearing
no,
like their
no.
like New
It,
Balances.
yeah, hang out with a bunch of old guys, sip some coffee, and look at
I
their
don't even want to
cars that
hang
they can't
out with my
afford.
age group. Like they don't want
Yeah,
to either.
yeah.
So
Well, this is an issue that's
they're
bothered me
acting up.
for
Yeah,
years,
and it's getting
years.
worse.
And yeah, and it is getting worse. I'm watching it just worsen, and no one's doing anything about it. And
Then you
it
got
just,
people shaking their fists, go, "Oh, why are these young kids acting up? Why are they
yep.
street racing? No, they shouldn't be street racing. They shouldn't be acting up." Sure, but like even okay, let me just get on my rant soapbox here. When I was like 18, 19, 20, and I did have like interest in learning to do burnouts and doing donuts and all these other things. We had like this warehouse that we rented space from for John's business, and that's where I learned to do a lot of the driving that I know how to do now. But
Yeah.
even back then, I ran into this problem of like, where do I act up? Where do I do a burnout in my car? Like, no, you don't have to. No, it's not essential. But like, yeah, I mean, I got this fast car and I had my formula back then and we were building it. And where do I take this and act up at? Yes, I can go to the track, but they're so far and few between.
Mhm.
Like these events are so stuffy. We're like, even at the track, I mean, you're not going to do donuts at the track. Like,
No,
I don't know, like there's
no.
just not a lot of
Most
places to have fun.
that's a good way to get yourself kicked out of most tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's the other thing. And if someone wants to run with this, they have the means. Like
Yeah.
do an autocross type complex.
Yeah. Or have like a burnout pad or a
A
donut
burnout
pad,
pad. Yep.
whatever, like how
You can have
hooligans,
both. Because
like,
that doesn't require as much infrastructure as the track. You just need a
yeah,
big open, fairly even
a parking lot.
surface.
Yeah.
Put
And
out put out cones. Yeah, it could be a parking lot or whatever, just as long as it's private, so the cops can't show up and cite people for dangerous driving or
yeah,
exhibitionist
that was
driving
a
or whatever.
huge thing when I was a
Yeah.
teenager. They started cracking down so hard on doing burnouts in parking lots, things like that. It's exhausting. Like they're just if there was like a place where these kids could go and get it out of their system.
Yep.
I mean, why
Yep.
not do that instead of another bar or club or whatever? Let's have
Luxury condos. It seems
yeah.
like so many tracks get raised for luxury condos. Oh, that really irks me. But anyway, yeah.
So then you end up with stuff like this. Australian teen crashes his parents' Mustang.
Oh.
If you're listening, this Mustang, it looks like a 6th gen just laying on its roof.
Yep. Yep. Crashed through a fence into someone's backyard.
Some kid acting up. I mean, I don't know how the car scene is in Australia, although we do have a lot of
Oh,
Australian listeners. So I
I
think there is a lot of enthusiasm.
there is, but from what I've seen, they've been cracking down even more there. So I think it's like a pressure cooker,
Yeah.
It just they expect that everybody just is content with not being able to really see what their car can do if they have like a performance car I think the next step is, well, then they ought not to have performance cars. We need to get rid of those. Oh,
I mean, I guess that's where they're heading with this. Like,
we should
oh,
all drive bread boxes. That's great. Yeah.
no, we should take buses everywhere.
Oh yeah, buses or bike. Yeah. And I'm not talking motorcycle, bicycle.
Yeah, it's funny because like the same people who want you to bike everywhere hate motorcycles at the same time.
Yep.
So
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Well, motorcycles can go fast and they're loud and they don't like that.
yeah, and they can go just about like anywhere.
Yep.
And that ticks them off. So
Wow.
anyway, so it's an Australian team, and then what happens? Then we have these people getting killed at street takeovers now. Like it was bound to happen, and now it's happened.
Well,
And
it has happened before. This isn't the first time, but yeah, it's still not good. This was on Christmas night.
yeah,
This 24-year-old woman, she got hit by a Camaro. And we don't have the details of exactly how it happened. Some people are like, oh, well, the pedestrians, they stand really close and record, but she might have been, up on the sidewalk or something like that. I mean, they hit people all the time at these street takeovers.
Yeah, I remember that kid. It was a couple of years ago. It was a Camaro, a yellow Camaro, and they were coming down. The Camaro was coming down like on ramp or the expressway, something that was adjacent to the interstate, but not quite on the interstate. And this young kid jumps out in the road, I guess, trying to get pictures and smack right into him. It was like 15 years old.
Yep.
But no, it's not the first time it's happened. It's just
No.
happening a lot. Like
it is. Well, I think the street takeovers are part of this whole pent up energy.
right.
Kids want to have fun. There's fewer and fewer ways for them to legitimately have fun. So now they're just going to go break the law to have fun.
Yeah, especially, getting together. That like this is going to have a lot more appeal to teenagers and young adults when there's nowhere else for them to take their car. So they've got, I mean, I see these street takeover people. First of all, if you're a street takeover person, you're listening, like you're a loser. I don't like you. And
yeah,
I think of them as kind of like lame gangs.
They're posers.
And they have that appeal of like the group, the peer pressure, the social aspect. Well, hey kid, like you have a fast car. Don't you want to come do burnouts with us? Don't you want to do intersection takeovers and street racing together? Like, because I can tell you, when a group of car people in their 18, 19, 20s get together on the street with no regulation and you're just counting on the cops to show up at some point, it's something bad's going to happen.
Oh yeah, because they make stupid decisions, and I swear they all get dumber when they're all together.
Yeah, these ones hanging out the window. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Why is somebody hanging out the window? And why is somebody standing in the middle? Like, I remember we used to do like SCCA racing, and photographers would be in the little circle. I'm like, what the hell? Move! Like that is such a stupid place to stand.
It is.
But compared to this, that was like they might have been in a guarded like area somewhere.
Yeah, it's thrill seeking, but there's a good way to get a thrill and there's a bad way, and it's definitely a bad way.
Oh boy. I mean, I'll if I win the lottery, I'll be the solution here. So buy me some lottery tickets, send them to me, and I will open a track with a burnout zone, donut zone. We can teach these. Oh, that's another thing too, is we used to have year one, which I don't even know what happened to them, but they would have events in their parking lot.
Yep, and teach them how to drive.
Yeah, and do things like this. Not like this, but that you could go act up.
Yeah.
Nothing. And then you're just out there and you crash your Camarostang. And people are wondering what the hell this is. So
it's an abomination. It's interesting.
Yeah. So we've got a Camaro Mustang.
Yeah.
A Mustang with a Camaro front end. I don't know.
It's you can't really see the Camaro front end anymore.
Yeah. Now it's a Mustang with a busted front end and then like a wide body. I don't really know.
It's a wide body. It's an interesting build. It's taste specific. Not everybody's gonna like it, but somebody crashed it.
Yep. So I don't even know. There's so much going on that my brain can't comprehend which way it's coming or going at this point. So it's got the hood and the front end, and
Yeah.
so someone
Hey, at least it has a recovery strap on it,
so they can pull it out of whatever.
so they can pull it out. Yeah.
But do you think it landed in a crowd or a ditch? Because it's a Mustang, but it's also Camaro. Camaros like to go into ditches.
I don't know. Yeah, they do. Although, sometimes Camaros hit crowds. I know the stereotype is it's always a Mustang, but sometimes Camaros do.
Like the last
It's a
person.
tough one.
Yeah.
See, Mustangs also like to hit light poles for
Yeah.
some reason. So I don't know. It could have been a light pole. Oh, that's a lot of front end damage for a pole. It would be more
I can't make
centralized.
it looks like it drove up under or something.
Maybe a wall, or maybe it looks like the collision was higher up, so not, I don't know. Hit a road crossing barrier. Who knows? Side of a semi truck, there'd probably be more damage. I don't know.
Camarostang, rest in peace.
Yeah.
And then somebody abandoned their C8 Corvette in a Montana snowstorm.
Not my first choice of vehicle to drive in Montana in the winter. Like, good portions of Montana doesn't get plowed or plowed very often. That's part of the problem. I know some people live in Montana, and they've complained that there's people of a specific state, California, who keep moving there, who don't seem to understand that they're not in the middle of the city where everything's plowed and everybody takes care of them and they're pampered and so on. There's a reason why people in Montana own trucks and SUVs with 4-wheel drive, and they have either an ATV or a truck with a plow on it to plow their private road or driveway, because ain't nobody gonna come out from the city or county and do it for them. And then you have people like this who are driving their C8 Corvette in a snowstorm and they get it stuck on a snowbank.
Right.
Like, really? What?
So I used to have some criticism of people who would have a nice car and then put it up for the winter, because I'm like, what's the difference? I can drive my Hellcat in the snow. What I experienced, so in the South, we had this weird phenomenon right before Christmas. It was negative, like, I don't remember. It was negative something, like wind chill. And it was so cold outside that the interior of my car was so brittle when we got in. And now I get why people put their cars up, like their nice cars up during the winter.
Winter, if you live somewhere where it snows and so on, winter is hell on a car.
Yeah, I got a little taste of that, and now I completely get it, and I totally respect that whole idea. So the fact that somebody's out here, like, this guy can't live in Montana.
Well, here's the thing: is that dealer plate on the front of it? It's a Montana Chevy dealer.
So maybe this is his first Corvette.
Well, maybe he just moved from California, bought the C8, and decided to drive it in the snowstorm. That's one theory that I saw online, and it's not a bad one, because I'd say he doesn't have a lot of experience with Montana winters.
Yeah, and driving your nice car out in the snow.
And it looks like it probably has the factory tires, which are summer tires. The last thing you want to drive in the cold.
Oh man, I swear these C8 owners, they're different.
They're almost as bad as the Mustang stereotype. I mean,
they're
how many
the rest of us. Like,
how many have you seen crash? I mean, crash into crowds, crash into ditches, crash into poles.
All of it.
The one that was crashed onto a dirt mound, kind of like this, was stuck on the dirt mound.
Yeah. One on the beach, the one that drove through the hurricane floodwaters.
The hurricane floodwaters. Yeah.
They're different.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I mean, I guess it's cool they're out there enjoying their cars, but
well, if you're ruining it to enjoy it, bit of a problem.
There's some space in between New Balances and driving under
but the C8 crowd is a little different. GM's been really bragging about how the ownership age has dropped drastically, so it's no longer like white kids and gold chains with a partially unbuttoned shirt, the stereotype of the Corvette owner. It's a different crowd.
Yeah, bunch of younger kids, I guess, out there mishandling things.
And maybe that's why we were seeing a shift in behavior, because you didn't see this kind of behavior with C7s, C6, C5s. Nope.
Not at all. And actually, I knew a lot of people who drove like C5s, Z06s. They were part of our car club, and they were younger. I mean, they not teenagers, but 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't really remember anybody getting in that much trouble. Just maybe quite a bit of racing and things like that. But I don't know. At the same time, what we're learning is that people really love the Challenger. And
yeah, do they ever?
Once again, the Challenger, which do you break down Challenger production versus like Mustang or Camaro production? Because I have an impression that there's more Mustangs and Camaros being made.
Oh, Camaros, definitely not. GM. So that's one thing that Camaro enthusiasts complain about is GM isn't making very many of them.
Oh.
But I think GM perceives, and we can argue all day long, that there isn't demand. Because that's the thing, is you can make a ton of cars. You can make 80,000 Camaros in a year, but if you can only sell 20,000 of them, what do you do with the other 60,000? Then you have a glut of Camaros sitting at dealers. So they say, well, if they made more, they'd sell more. Well, maybe, but maybe not. No, I mean, all the automakers, especially lately, have been doing more of this almost on-demand manufacturing of cars. So, but they're not saying how many they made in these reports. These are just sales reports. You have to check through the financials to see how many they made and compare. And honestly, I didn't do that. That's a good question, though. But yeah, the Challenger yet again outpunched the Mustang, and this time by more than in 2021. So it's been the top in the class. 2021, now 2022, and I bet it's going to be for 2023.
Yeah. And then they're going to ruin it by getting rid of the Challengers and Chargers.
Well, no, it's supposedly the nameplates are going to continue, but I wonder what they're going to look like and what they're going to be like. Inline six engine only. I mean,
I had to have my prediction, honestly, like 100%. I don't think anything's going to change at all. I think they're going to be the same.
You think they're going to back off of this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, come on, they're cash cows. Like, everybody loves these cars,
but
Hellcats.
But with the cafe standards and so on, and Stellantis really wants to play ball on all that.
I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't.
We'll see. I hope you're right. Yeah. I don't know. I could see it going either way.
Yeah.
I mean, some people have a theory that the new Challenger, Charger, either or both could be lifted, have a higher ride height, be more crossover like. I know. I think it's interesting they're keeping really quiet about what's going to happen. I'm sure they're going to have a big reveal probably summertime this year.
Of like a concept. I just don't think anything's going to change. I really don't. And please, let's not put the Challenger Charger crowd in a crossover. Oh my gosh,
they won't go
so easily.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be mayhem. Actually,
well, the same.
We'll have a lot to talk about.
The same crowd, they're not going to buy those. They're going to move on to Mustangs.
We'll just go back to Mustang and Camaro.
Yeah.
So,
but then there's talk of, they already have a Mustang crossover, but there's talk of, doing a sedan version of the Mustang and, and so on. Ford's going to make the Mustang family, and then supposedly GM's going to do the same thing with the Camaro and, make a Camaro crossover. And I don't know. Everything's just crazy nowadays.
Everything sucks.
Yeah.
But our imports of the week.
Hey, this is why I went with a classic here.
Yeah.
If you want something that has ground clearance and all that, get a truck. I hate crossovers.
1990 Toyota FJ75 Land Cruiser pickup truck.
Yep. And when I initially saw it, it's like, it's going to be right-hand drive. Nope, it is left-hand drive. So I'm not quite sure where they imported this from, but this is not JDM. This is not Aussie. This is from a left-hand drive market. So pretty cool. I mean, these are cool trucks to begin with. Don't have too many of them here in the US. So what a vehicle. It looks like it's in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
These things
It's
can
very basic looking.
they what now?
Everything's very basic looking.
Oh, you know what? I'll be honest. I miss having a basic truck like this, something that it's not loaded with all kinds of electronic gizmos and luxury this and heated seats, and there's something to be
Tell you to
said
put
for
your seatbelt
simplicity.
on.
The what now?
Chimes that tell you to put your seatbelt on.
Oh, or won't go into gear until you put your seatbelt on. GM. It's so yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. There's no nannies. It's a simple truck. I'm not sure if it has locking hubs. I think it may.
No, no power steering.
And does that not have power steering? Okay, power steering is kind of nice, but whatever. I mean, it's light, so it's not gonna be the end of the world.
Yeah, how basic do you want it? I mean,
yeah, it's pretty basic.
And on the other side of the spectrum, we have the most obnoxiously nannying big modern vehicle, Cadillac Escalade, ESP, 4-wheel drive. This thing, yeah, is just it will not let you go anywhere without your seatbelt on. It will probably call GM and tell on you.
Probably. So, are these 4-wheel drive or are they all-wheel drive? I know they used to be all-wheel drive. Did they really switch to a 4-wheel drive system? Huh. I wonder if it's an open 4-wheel drive, if they have lockers and.
No, we probably have to pull the VIN to find out exactly, because it could just be like the way the app is listed. But
I'll be honest, I haven't done a lot of research on the new Escalades. No, I don't know why, but
Cadillac was supposed to let me borrow one because I was going to. So yeah, remember that article, we're not going to name names, but on a site that's not exactly a car site, so I don't know why they're reviewing vehicles. This guy talked about having a panic attack driving an Escalade that he borrowed.
Yep.
So I contacted Cadillac and they were going to have me do like a counter, because I'm not a big person. So talking about like a big car, I've had Tahoes, excursions, things like that. Like I've had big vehicles. My first vehicle I really drove was a 2500 HD Silverado. So like I'm not scared of big vehicles. So I was going to do like a counter piece to that guy talking about having a panic attack over the size. And I guess like COVID happened and they didn't have
supplies plummeted. That might
I'll
be
still
why.
Do it though if anybody from Cadillac
if you're a Cadillac dealership,
I'll take it.
Hey, I'll do it too if you're a Cadillac dealership.
Yeah, but you're like 6'2"
in Arizona. But still, I'll do a review of it. I mean,
I'm full TVs backyard.
So actually I'm 6'3", but what? That means I can't drive an Escalade?
I'm just saying, I think it makes more of a point that somebody 5'5" and small.
I don't know. I've driven, like 26-footer trucks. All the time. So to me, an Escalade, it's not that big.
Just peeking out. And we've got like a Ferrari or something in the background.
Hey, why not? No.
Yeah, I'll take them all. This is some like luxury showroom.
Interesting.
Auto Cafe of Florida. Auto Cafe. Okay.
All right.
Oh, you can see them in the look at that. Look at the resolution of that rear view camera. That's incredible.
Is that the rear view? Is that the front? I think that's a front camera, because the new SUVs and trucks, they have front cameras because the hoods are so high.
It is the front camera.
It's the front camera because you can't see directly in front of the vehicle.
That's incredible. Okay, that is kind of
yeah, well, you gotta love the new safety regs, and they make the hoods so tall because of them.
That's funny. That's well, okay, I think this must be the rear then, right?
No, I think that's front, because those cars are in front of it. That McLaren and the Ferrari are in front of the Escalade in the pictures.
Yeah, side cameras.
Yeah, they have side cameras. It all stitches together for the bird's eye.
I guess this is the side, maybe?
No, that's a bird's eye, where it takes the side and the rear and the front, and it stitches them all together.
I haven't exactly been driving vehicles that are loaded up with technology.
Yeah, no, those bird's eye view, those have been around for a few years. But yeah, it takes all the camera views and it stitches them together, and it creates this bird's eye view so you can see all around you. Like if you have trouble maneuvering, which after seeing all the damage to mommy SUVs, I think these are necessary for some people because they don't know how to maneuver their vehicle in parking lots and such. All the wheels are curb rash, there's scuffs on all the bumper corners. Oh man, they don't know how to maneuver it.
Yeah, I
Some
mean,
people need this stuff.
it ain't just moms. I'm just saying, like,
No, I'm not saying it's just moms, but
so many men driving pickups that
yeah,
them trying to get into a parking space.
they
There's
don't know how.
unnecessary with their maneuvering. Like, to just pull in, like you had it by a mile, just park, and then they end up hitting something, and you're like, really?
Yep. No, you're right. It happens with guys in big trucks as well.
So
Uh,
my
yeah.
pick, and we're going on a road trip soon, so I'm thinking like this would be amazing to have for 4 days
Yeah.
and then give it back because I want my little muscle car. Well, it's not little, I guess.
No, it's just the full size. Yeah,
Well,
but
not
no,
this
but
big.
this is even bigger, rolling hard on the Escalade. Well,
Yeah.
maybe now that car sales are starting to slow, you can more easily borrow something like
Yeah,
this
let me
and
borrow one.
do
Cadillac. Come on. I'm
do
gonna
it.
follow up with that guy, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. See if he wants to do that now.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll let us take it on our road trip so we can do like a full review. Yeah. So even listening to the Motorious Podcast, like, subscribe, share. We're back every couple weeks and we'll talk about cars next time.